Ugh, who isn't stressed out today, right? There's so much you have to do. Being able to be performing at your highest level is more important than ever. It feels like there's endless demands on every resource we have. What are we going to do about it? You might be tempted to say, I just need to push myself harder. If I work more, if I do more things, that will be the answer. Well, today I'm going to show you why that is the exact opposite of what you need to do, how you can use having more fun and taking more breaks as a way to reset your creative mind, your sense of humor, your ability to cope, and a great little secret you can find in the natural world that's going to help you get there. So thank you for joining me today for this episode of the Space Doctor series. My name is Angela. I am an architect, feng shui practitioner, and researcher who spent my whole career studying salutogenesis, aka design for well-being. So you don't have to. Instead, if you subscribe to this channel and come visit me here every week, you're going to see thoughtful weekly videos that explore the science behind all of this in a way that's easy for anyone to understand and, more importantly, put into practice in your own life. I talk about the changes you can make that are going to be game changers for you, for your loved ones, for your clients, if you work in a design profession, for people in your community, whatever it is you are interested in improving through the built environment, I gotcha. I am here for you. And we do this using my Salutogenesis card deck, which, as I always say, has two parts. Foundational concepts. These are the things that generate well-being, or the opposite, dis-ease. And then we talk about what we really want to know, which is how do we make it better? And that uses the 5 aspects of salutogenesis, which act as suits in my deck. So each suit represents a theory my research has shown is a really important core part of design for well-being. And each of those theories are also matched up with an element in feng shui. So every week I draw a card from each of those 2 parts of the deck, and I do shuffle the cards. I do put intention in there every week. What do we most need to hear this week? And I believe that the cards I draw are showing up for a reason. And again, I don't know what 2 cards I'm going to get, and I don't always know how I'm going to talk about those. I have to get really creative sometimes. But I think that is the point, is you learn something more, you dig a little deeper, see a little bit more of a dimension than you might have seen in the past when you talk a card with its companion. So it's a really fun way to not only learn, but apply this knowledge. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first card that I drew from the foundational concepts part of the deck is oxytocin and the HPA axis. What? This is a very technical concept, but when I explain it to you, it's going to make so much sense. And the bottom line here is that when we are experiencing stress, something called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis is activated. So this is a neuroendocrine, which means it uses hormones as well as neurons, pathway that regulates our response to stress. And if you've listened to other episodes of this, how bad chronic stress is for us. It leaves us really, really debilitated physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and over time has a lot of really big adverse health effects. However, oxytocin buffers this. It is released, as you might have guessed, when we feel happy, when we feel bonded to people, when we experience joy. But here's the really cool thing, and it's why when we look at the card, you'll see that there's a walk, don't walk sign version of it. And you can see that the walk is a figure who looks happy, leisurely moving, and the don't walk figure, which is not illuminated here, is stressed out, freaking out. The reason for that is because you can't be both activating the HPA axis and the oxytocin stimulation. They're called mutually regulating for a reason. Think of it like a set of scales. If one goes up, the other goes down. Aha! It tells the hypothalamus not to activate all of that chain reaction. It also can inhibit that ACTH that happens in the pituitary gland and the cortisol release in the adrenal cortex. So on all three fronts, oxytocin is slowing down, blunting, turning off that stress response. So what could we do to keep this going? We can meditate. We can have a gratitude practice. We can seek out loving and supportive relationships, spend more time with those people and less time with people who are stressing us out and depleting you. We can do things that make us happy, and those don't always have to be a big deal. They could be just sleeping in an extra hour on the weekends, or eating your favorite food, or binge watching something you enjoy, reading a good book, anything that makes you happy. So think about how you can put a joy infusion into your day. What are those little things that you can do that are going to keep you more in a state of being happy, joyful, or grateful? Because the more you feel that, the less stressed out you're going to be. Now, I promised at the start of this video that I was going to talk about a little secret power that the natural world has that can help us out with that. So the card that I drew from the aspects part of the deck is the non-rhythmic sensory stimuli card. Now, this is part of the biophilia part of the deck. Biophilia is the wood element in feng shui. Wood is about growth, connectivity, flexibility, communication. Think about plants and their root systems and their branching stems, whether they are a flowering plant that is softwood, or a tree or a shrub that is hardwood. Wood is all about reaching and growing and blooming. You're hardwired to feel connected to the natural world. So when you think biophilia, think I relate. Now, we're going to talk today about non-rhythmic sensory stimuli, another really technical sounding word, but it's an easy concept to understand. It's anything that you see where there is not a regular pattern to it. So it can be ocean waves, it can be fluffy clouds in the sky that are very random. It can be a mountain range or set of hills. It can be trees, even something you can see in the foreground here called komorebi, which is a scientific phenomenon behind a form of dynamic illumination or volumetric lighting, if you speak lighting designer, but it's the way that light filters through a treetop or a plant. That is all part of what you can think of as non-rhythmic sensory stimuli. And you could see on the card, you've got examples of that, but there's also symbolism there to help lock in the learning for you. So the clouds represent revelations and epiphanies, higher thoughts, The blue sky is always something positive. It represents getting clarity, feeling elevated, just like that oxytocin hit does for us. Hot air balloon represents hope, surrender to the struggle, being open to possibilities. And that's a big part of this, right? We can't truly be open to feeling joy, gratitude, happiness if we are stuck in the struggle, if we're always focused on what we don't have. We can't be lighter. We can't see the humor. We can't pivot. Instead, we get grumpy and curmudgeonly. So the hot air balloon reminds us that hope does truly float and it moves with the wind and it's graceful and it's fun. Non-rhythmic sensory stimuli reduce your stress and improve productivity. They are restorative to you. So when you spend time in nature, you encounter a whole lot of examples of these. And what they do is they let you have what is called a soft attention focus. Your mind is intrigued by this. Your mind sees it as fun and whimsical and awe-inspiring and uplifting. While your mind is doing that, guess what it's not doing? Focusing on all the things that are stressing you out. Clearly go right out and be in it, but you could also have workspace or spaces where you're learning or teaching or having to do things that require a lot of focus or concentration or that normally are stressful for you, near where there's windows with views that are going to give you these non-rhythmic sensory stimuli. You can also do it in design. So on the interior, where can you introduce random patterns, dynamic lighting or sound effects, kinetic elements that are going to move with the wind? It could be a wind chime, but it also could be elements on the building that can actually move around. It could be wind catchers. It could be canopies, things that are going to billow, objects that change as you move around them, things that are iridescent so that as the light hits them and as you move around them, they're different. Playing with transparencies, playing with shadows, anything like that is ways you can design to create those non-rhythmic sensory stimuli. When we release oxytocin in response to non-rhythmic sensory stimuli, we cue broader functions in our brain. There are real unmeasurable anti-stress effects because of that whole mutual regulation I talked about with the HPA axis, but it also helps to promote what's called social cognition. So the brain regions that enhance remembering people, being able to recall facts about their life, things that are going to help us bond to other people, gets improved. So instead of going, and you are who, and I know you from where, or being so self-absorbed that we forget to ask our coworker about what's happening with their son who just got his driver's license or anything like that, right? Now that's going to be improved with exposure to non-rhythmic sensory stimuli. Also, this helps with restoration and healing, and we could all use a little bit of this. And that is just because when we turn that stress response down, what happens is we get a reset. And we get reset from the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress, the bad stuff, to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we can heal, where we can restore and repair ourselves. So Now that we understand that it truly is a walk, don't walk relationship between being stressed out and being happy, we can deliberately choose to do more things that make us happy, knowing that that's going to drive down the stress response. And we can leverage what we know about biophilia, in particular, non-rhythmic sensory stimuli, both out in the natural world, seeking them out, but also introducing them into the places where we live, work, and play so that we get the benefits because they help to generate more of that oxytocin. And the more that we get, the less stress we feel, the more enjoyable our life is, and the more creative and innovative we're going to be. So we're going to show up better in the world for everyone. So thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed this, remember, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. I read all of your comments. I love knowing how you are using this information, that it's helping you. And it's the best way you can support this channel so that you can get more of this content. So thank you again, and I will see you next time.